Kia ora whanau. My name is Ryan. I'm here with Aroha Wellness Retreats, and I have a brief introduction to Yin for you. Let's get started, and we'll find ourselves on our backs. First things first here is just to land and connect with your breath. Take a moment to tune into how your physical body is feeling. And you might like to connect with your breath by sensing the movement in and out of your body as your belly rises and as it falls. You might like to listen to your breath or even take an internal count. And wherever you are, just find your way to your breath. When you're ready, let's bring our heels towards our glutes, bringing the knees into the air. And just take a moment to sense this new position and the connection with the earth, maybe underneath your lower back or the back of the head. Maintaining your connection with your breath, let's bring your knees in towards your chest and give yourself a bit of a hug here. We're going to be moving relatively quickly through these shapes, but the intention here is to get this sequence into your body so that when you have more time for yourself to find a little bit more spaciousness within these shapes. Maybe from here you'd like to grab the outer edges of your feet, bringing the knees in towards the armpits, finding your happy baby, and maybe rocking backwards and forth or side to side, just bringing gentle movements. So build up of forward folds in this sequence, and this is to help us to let go, particularly processing anything that's unfolded throughout the day. From here, bringing the soles of the feet together in more of a reclined butterfly here, still holding onto the feet, or maybe you like to hold on to the ankles, and from here you can press away with your ankles away from your hips, pulling down on the tracks there, allowing the arms to be pulled from the shoulders. Maybe moving side to side. Releasing the feet, bringing the soles of the feet to the mat. Stretching out the legs. And when you're ready, helping yourself up. From here, we're going to set ourselves up for butterfly. So bringing the soles of the feet together, wanting to create a diamond shape here, not bringing the heels too close to the hips. And you might like to grab a bolster, maybe you have a pillow at home, and setting yourselves either up so you could fold over like this, allowing the bolster to catch your belly, or maybe you'd like to hold it out in front of your feet for your forehead to land into. With each shape, allow your breath to soften you on the exhales, maybe finding a little length on the inhale, and melting into the exhale. There's a tendency throughout our yin practice to want to do more. Just see if you can do a little less. each exhale, seeing if you can let go that extra 1%. And you're feeling ready. Removing the bolster. Allow your legs to straighten out a moment and maybe give them a little tap. What we're going to do from here is set ourselves up for a half caterpillar. So bending at the left leg, or maybe you like to start with the right, whichever one, have one leg straight and the other sole of the foot pressing into the side of that leg. You might like to go in the inner thigh, you might like to go in the calf muscle, or putting the arc around the knee, just whatever feels comfortable for your body. Take a nice inhale and lengthen through the spine. And from here, on your exhale, hinge towards your shins. Again, you might like to find your bolster or maybe a block or a blanket. This can create a bit of comfort for you to let go and hold these postures with a little bit more ease. And when you're ready, crawling out of that, coming up tall, straighten out both legs. Maybe give them a little tap. Just take a moment to notice the difference between your left and the right. And setting yourself up for the other side. Inhaling to go tall and exhaling as you fold over your knees. You're ready, gently walking out, straightening out both legs, maybe giving them a little tap again. And from here, we're going to move into our full expression of caterpillar. So both legs out nice and straight. Set yourself up again with a bolster or a blanket at the waist if you'd like. Allowing yourself to inhale nice and tall and exhale as you fold over. Finding time to be with your breath. Maybe you take an internal count of your inhales and your exhales if you're finding yourself a little distracted. And anytime you notice yourself wandering off in thought, just come back to that breath. Ready, gently crawling out of that. Take a moment with a straight back before your next exhale, just coming back into a brief shavasana. And just noticing what you notice. Maybe sensations in the lower back. When you're ready, let's flip ourselves over onto our belly. Take a moment just to tune into this new sensation and connection with the ground. And from here, bringing your hands underneath your shoulders and pressing yourself up. Wriggle your elbows to be underneath your shoulders, forearms parallel, stretched out in front. And take a moment to just shake out in the hips, just to really let go in that lower body. And pressing through the hands and the forearms and really tracking the mat back towards your belly. Allow a little length in that spine as you lift your chin. And then releasing any tension. Softening with the exhale. Allowing your navel to fall and melt towards the mat. Stretching the front line of the body, so it's important to keep the gaze lifted. Throughout this practice, inviting in a soft gaze or closing down those eyes to allow you to tune into that felt sense. You're ready, pressing yourself up and back. We'll find ourselves into a wide-legged child's pose. So bringing the knees out to the outside edges of the mat, reaching out nice and long through the arms and the shoulders, allowing the glutes to press back into the heels, forehead onto the mat. When you're ready, let's come up into our tabletop. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. You can have your tops of your feet flat here. If you like to tuck the toes, you can also do that. Just tune into what feels best for your knees. And then from here, we're going to come into a twist. So take a moment to tune into your right hand, maybe wriggling those fingers. And next inhale, reach up nice and tall towards the ceiling. And then exhale, let's thread that through underneath our left armpit. Bringing the shoulder and the right ear towards the earth. Then straightening out with that left arm above the head. Reaching nice and long. You might also like to tuck that left arm just into the inner crevice of the right thigh. This can help to deepen your twist here. But just find which expression works for you and best for your body this evening. When you're ready to transition to the other side, placing the left hand in front of your face, pressing through that left hand, reach up once more towards the ceiling, and placing that right hand back down. Just take a moment here on the tabletop. Notice what you notice about each side. Bring a little bit of movement into that left hand. Inhale, reach up nice and tall, and exhale, let's feed it through. Again, you can leave your hand here of the right hand, stretch it out nice and tall above the head, or finding that we bind in the crevice of the left thigh there. Gently unwinding, placing the right hand in front of your face, press it up, reach up towards the ceiling, and placing both hands back on the mat. From here, we're going to set ourselves up for frog. So finding yourself lengthways on the mat, just to protect those knees, let's shimmy the knees out as wide as we can. And here we can either find our knees behind our ankles behind our knees. We could also draw the heels towards one another. find your way down towards the floor onto your forearms. Then, when you're ready, you can place your head into your hands. Taking a moment to explore what feels good for you, even when you're in the posture. Maybe you would like to shimmy out those feet. Maybe you can wiggle in a little bit deeper. Maybe exploring pressing back or rocking forwards. Just sensing where in your hips can you feel the edges that you would like to explore. Being conscious to avoid any sharp, unnecessary pain. Allowing the chest to soften and melt with each exhale into the floor. Gently crawling out of that posture. Bringing the knees back in towards one another, finding yourself back in toward your tabletop. And just take a moment to rebound here. Noticing the sensations in the hips. And when you're ready, let's extend that left leg back behind us nice and straight. Place the knee down toward the ground. Again, top of the foot can be on the mat or tucking the toes, whatever feels comfortable for your knees. And let's bring our right foot to the outside edge of our right hand, coming into our dragon here. Nice time to bring in a bolster or another support. It's where you can either come on down to your forearms on the bolster. You could also use a block, or maybe you'd like to move your chest towards the bolster for support. Giving yourself as much time as you need on the side. And when you're ready, pressing up into your hands, removing any supports and getting back into your tabletop. Preparing for the other side, thinking about stretching out that right leg, bringing the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Setting up your supports and gently coming down. It's important to also notice the difference between each side. Sometimes you might be a little bit more open in one side or a little bit more closed in the other. And trying to let go of any attachment to the expression of each shape, regardless of the side, regardless of what we've done before in the past. Be finding your edge, allowing yourself to be well supported, and then throughout the shape you can gently remove any supports if your body starts to soften and open up. Gently releasing yourself from that. Back into your tabletop, and then sitting back into a child's pose for a rebound. Ready? Slide yourself to a seated position on your mat. And we're going to set ourselves up for our deer. So our deer shape is to have the right shin parallel with the front of the mat, and then the left shin parallel with the side of the mat. Sort of creating these double 90-degree bends here. Dorsiflex at the ankles, so you've got nice support and protection for the knees. And from here you might also like to grab a support. If you're finding that one of your hips is lifted off the mat, this just helps to bring the mat towards your body. When you're ready, we're going to hinge forward over that front leg, taking a nice inhale and exhale as you're folding forward. You might like to stay here, or you might like to explore straightening out that back leg, coming more into our pigeon expression. Same thing again, the support can be really nice for under the glutes, just to help create a bit of connection with the mat. Same thing again, coming forward nice and tall, nice and long, and folding forward on the exhales. I recommend finding at least 10 breaths in each shape. Maybe you would like more. Giving yourself plenty of time to find the shape and let go and surrendering into each position. When you're ready, walking yourself up, swinging that back leg out if you had it straight. Removing any supports. Let's kick our legs out nice and straight for a moment. Tap out the knees and then sit up for the other side. So we've got that front shin parallel with the front edge of the mat, the right shin parallel with the long edge of the mat. And we've got appropriate supports ready for when we need. And again, on your exhale, folding forward over that front edge. And once again, if you feel like you'd like to take the expression a little bit further, you could kick out the back leg if your hips allow. Maybe tucking the support underneath the left glute. And once again, finding length and softening. Just being mindful of that front leg, make sure the foot stays dorsiflexed. This is to help protect that knee of yours. Gently helping yourself back out, swinging your legs around. Removing any supports and finding your way back down onto your back. From here, we're going to take one last little hug and tuck up the knees. You're rocking from side to side. Place the soles of your feet on the mat. And from here, we're going to take a gentle spine twist. If you would like to cross your legs, you may do so, but you can also just have your knees stuck together. And from here, shimmy your hips out to the left, look out to the left, and allow your knees to fall to the right. Making sure that both shoulders are pressed evenly into the floor. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, align The hips to shimmy out to the right side and the knees falling to the left. And turn your gaze out to the other side. And finding your breath. Now bring them back to center. One last happy baby here. Finding the outer edges of your feet. Drawing your knees in towards your armpits. Maybe taking notice of how your body feels now in this happy baby from how it did in the beginning. And give the feet a little love. Stretching out the toes. And when you're ready, let's find ourselves in our final Shavasana. You might like to wrap up and warm yourself with a blanket or any other layers that you may have shared. Palms can be by your side, face up, or maybe you'd like one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. Giving yourself as much time as you need in your final Shavasana, allowing this practice to come to a close.